Welcome to the Haunted Hangover podcast. I'm Louie, and I'm joined by
Manny.
And we've also got a special guest joining us here, Aidan P. Finnegan, the co-owner and advertising director for Dark Knight Halloween World. Welcome to the show, Aidan.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, we were just talking shit because I was worried I would fuck your name up off air.
Well, it's okay. You know, most people can't pronounce Flanagan.
Is it Flanagan or Finnegan? Where? See, man, you're throwing me for a loop, man. I just can't, curveballs everywhere.
Curveballs.
I mean, truly, who am I? Who are you? Who are any of us? Isn't the whole theory that we're just like, the same consciousness peering in at different viewpoints?
I could have sworn we were just like in the Matrix, man. I thought that was like the big thing, right, Manny? I think you.
Look, man, I've been reading Asimov all week. I mean, if this is the road we want to go down right now, let's do it. I'm here for it.
I'm all about Matrix references now that I found out that Joe Dante made a Matrix movie like a year ago, and I somehow completely missed it. So
wait, what? Joe Dante directed a Matrix movie?
I was watching Red Letter Media, and I don't know if the whole thing was a really well-done joke, but I think, I don't know, according to one of their episodes, and it's like a 2-hour-long episode, it's called Matrix Resurrections, and it basically compares the whole film to Gremlins 2, and the amount of parallels there are is just insane.
That sounds amazing.
I'm just going to sign off and go watch that right now. You got this, right?
I got this. You can go, man. You don't worry about it. That does sound amazing. I'm going to have to... look that up. I did not know that existed.
Wow.
It's apparently a super meta Matrix movie in only the way that Joe Dante can do.
Joe Dante is the man. So
matinee.
I'm sure that's an interesting, I guess, documentary, right? It's a documentary kind of comparing the two films, like you said. So
no, it's an actual reboot that recognizes that it's a reboot.
Gotcha. Really?
Yeah.
Watch Aidan is just full of shit and just fucking yanking our chains right now. It's not a real movie. That would be amazing too.
What is real?
There you go. See? So,
see?
You know what is real? Haunted attractions.
No.
Yes. There you go. Man, you're going a different direction there, buddy.
Talking the Matrix.
We're moving away from the Matrix. We're talking about haunted attractions.
Means you're going in a different direction.
Yeah, I'm going. Oh, me. The host of the show is going in a different direction.
Steering this car away.
Exactly. Now, Dark Knight Halloween World, can you tell the listeners what it is exactly? It's not your typical haunt, to my knowledge, because guilty, I have never been. What is it?
So, Dark Knight Halloween World is the brainchild of a couple of haunted attraction, not even enthusiasts, 'cause all of us have been in the industry for a while. We have Marty Araminski and myself, as well as our former partner. You might have known him at some point. His name was Will. We got rid of him and we replaced him with a new partner this year. But, we were trying to take a look at the state of the haunted attraction industry and turn the clocks back. We all love retro haunted houses. We all love retro vintage Halloween. And we all love, those 80s horror movies, 90s horror movies, B movies, you name it. And we decided to kind of throw it all together and do something that's not just on a massive scale and is one of the most worthwhile haunts on Long Island in the tri-state area that's worth the ticket price, but also offer something that is a modern recreation or a tribute to the golden days of haunted attractions, say from like 95 to 2005, I would say.
Okay. Why is that the golden age? Out of curiosity.
The golden age, because that's kind of when I grew up, like looking at the Scare Factory website and watching the Travel Channel, and like being a kid at that point, because I'm significantly younger than my partners. But
I like that. It's the golden age because that's when I went there.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
It's the golden age because that's when I was.
But it's just hit different.
No, for sure. And listen, man, nostalgia's big. So if you could sell anything on nostalgia, people will buy into it. And it's listen, Stranger Things is what? It's worth millions and billions of dollars because of nostalgia. So why not use that attribute in a haunted attraction? And there aren't many haunted attractions that are doing that, kind of a throwback haunt, to my knowledge.
There's not a
New
whole
York?
lot. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
New York, it's pretty much barren. We're pretty much the only one doing it out here. But across the U.S., I found some friends of mine that are doing some incredible things with retro haunts, doing these absolutely massive scale events like we are here in Long Island. And we actually formed a partnership this year. So we're going to be doing a national media campaign coming up in the next couple of weeks that spotlights the rise of the retro haunt. And hopefully it gives us some fuel.
So I know that most haunts, because I've been going to them basically my entire life, but I know usually haunted attractions from year to year will change the theme. Not much. They're usually the same spaces. They don't really move. A lot of them rent the same areas and stuff like that. You guys have changed from year to year, correct? There's been a kind of
We've
a theme.
changed the entire show.
The entire show.
Yep.
And this year you guys
Year
have
to
a
year, the
theme,
entire
right?
show.
An AI theme, I believe, is what I remember seeing.
Well, it's not just an AI theme. This year we
Okay.
are the world's first AI or haunted attraction that's designed, managed, and maintained and monitored by AI. So, we're putting our trust completely in the hands of technology because that's the safest option, as referenced by so many
Okay.
films and so many TV shows and books and everything like that. So, yeah, like that idiot George Orwell knew nothing about what he was talking about, and we're going to prove that this year.
I know, man. Skynet, they're coming for us, but in a good way, right? They're starting.
Yeah, exactly, in a good way. Listen, I was an only child growing up. I always wanted a big brother.
There
So,
you go. Now you got one, so you're
Yeah.
good to go. Manny's been warning me about Big
Absolutely.
Brother for about 20 years now, so
Yep.
I don't know if he approves of the whole AI, Cyberdyne haunted attraction
Look,
situation.
I mean,
You don't approve of like getting rid of the human error? Like, come on.
that's inevitable. That's going to happen all on its own.
Yeah, there's
Well,
no.
I
That's
goddamn hope so. Can't happen quickly enough. Come on.
There you go. Who doesn't want to be controlled by AI? Come on,
Exactly.
algorithms.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love
Not
a good
controlled by
algorithm?
AI, but assisted. It's
Assisted.
assisted
My
is the
bad.
word. Yes.
Assisted.
My bad.
Thank you.
Assisted.
Thank you.
Get it
Assisted.
straight. Get it
I
right.
want to respect what's helping you create the haunt this year. AI.
Thank you.
I don't want
I
to make
appreciate
it.
that.
I don't want to. When I go to your haunt, I don't want to walk through it and maybe I'll vanish. Never hear. No, Manny, you might have to host the show going forward.
I'm gonna wear
No,
a hat.
no.
I'm gonna wear a hat with a bright UV light on it, and it won't even see me.
Wow.
I'll just be a bright glowing orb. The AI will think I'm God, and I can take over.
There you
If
go.
you think for a moment that you'll be able to walk through the gates with that, come on, man.
Manny,
We
will
have
find a
watch
way.
over the whole 14-acre property. That's
There you
one
go.
of the many benefits of this new system. Right
There you
there.
go. So
So I'll be a glowing orb in all 14 acres. Yes.
There you
yes. So
go. Easy target.
oh, there you go. They're gonna gun for Manny when Manny goes through. But yes, how did you get into the industry? I know it's a boring question, but how did you get involved in the haunt world, haunted attraction, haunt game in general? Like what besides your love between 95 and 2005, and then after that we kind of forget about it because you've been in the game a long time since then. Like what made you start? What was your first big attraction you got involved with?
My first big attraction I got involved with was Schmidt's Farm back in 2015, if not a little earlier. I ended up working there because I was about to graduate high school and I wanted to get into the industry. This has been a lifelong obsession, starting from me, decorating my parents' front yard with cardboard tombstones I'd make and stuff like that, and later volunteering at haunts and then starting to produce charity haunts, and then eventually after I, did a season or two with Schmitz, I ended up going off on my own, and that ended up taking me across the country. So it's something that is a humongous part of me. Every single article of clothing I own is either black or some kind of haunted house merch. I mean, I got tattoos on me that you can't even see it because my webcam sucks, but all sorts of. It's me. It's everything about me. I am a walking haunted attraction expert, and this is how would I not end up owning a haunted house after doing all this?
Yeah, man, it's cool that you've traveled to different states and worked in different and I'm sure when like state to state, the scene is different. Even for me, I've been to, like, for example, here in New York, very strict alcohol laws. Like no haunts really serve alcohol. And then I'll go out to like Massachusetts or Maine or California even, and they allow booze and haunts. And it's just interesting how there's a different culture kind of, and that goes with everything, honestly. But even with the haunt industry, it's just kind of different. You know, nothing beats being able to have a drink or two and then going through a haunt. Can't do that here in New York. So
no, no. I mean, I'm of the belief that haunted attractions and alcohol don't mix because, again, even though we're using AI, we still are relying on some human actors. So I don't want people going through and punching some dude working for us in the face. You know, if we were to ever offer alcohol, I would make sure it's kind of an at the end thing. Make sure that they wouldn't be able to backtrack through and, you know, possibly put themselves or other patrons or our actors in danger. But like you said, yeah, I mean, I've been all throughout the country. I've traveled all throughout the Midwest and the East Coast doing work for haunted attractions, producing some of the largest ones in the country. And it is definitely something you can tell regionally. There is a big difference. You know, the Chicago land haunts, that's one of my favorite haunt markets out there. They continue to do some innovative things. That's nothing like the haunts out in LA. You know, even New York City has some more artistic haunts that are coming up. You know, places like Terror, places like Nightmare NYC has been a favorite of mine for a while. The things that Eric Skrifoy does with Thinkophobia. So there's different regional differences that, you know, I recommend. Most people will never be able to do this, but people really do need to get out into the country and see what other areas of the country can offer in terms of their haunt.
Yeah, even for me when I review them. So, you know, just being a New Yorker, being from Queens, you know, Long Island's right here. So for me, it's like I've done all the Long Island haunts except for yours. Sorry, but not yet. But
hey, you're saving the best for last.
There you go. You know, and I've done a bunch in the city. I've done a bunch with Manny. I've done a bunch, you know, with my wife, with other friends, with Dave, one of the other co-hosts. So when it comes to me reviewing them, I'm at the point now where I kind of want to review haunts that are not in New York. You know, I went to Haunted Overload for the first time like 2 years ago.
Ooh.
And I loved it. I had a great time. I thought it just felt different. It was a different experience. And I'm not scared of haunted attractions. I just kind of like the ambiance. I like the feeling of them. And that's really what I rate them. When I review them, I really focus more on kind of the feeling I get when I go through them. And I will admit, in New York, just kind of with the limited space and some of the, unless you go upstate, obviously, towards like the Catskills and kind of going up towards Albany and stuff, it's obviously different. But in the kind of tri-state area, they're all kind of working with the same spaces and they kind of are limited in what they can achieve with a haunted attraction. So
yeah, there's definitely
personally, I'm trying to like get out. So
sorry, I'm talking over you. My apologies.
No worries.
There's a lag here.
No worries. What were we gonna say?
If our AI was here, it wouldn't have that problem.
Shit.
You know. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Manny. Yeah, no, there's definitely a lot of overlap with LI haunts, and I'm not knocking them. Long Island has some great haunts here. There is a reason that I moved back here, particularly to go full on with Dark Knight. That's because I want to introduce some new elements to this area, you know. But Long Island, you're seeing a lot of overlap. You're seeing a lot of, you're going to walk into one haunt and you're going to see that same prop at seven different haunts on the island, you know.
Same zombie horde prop. I've seen it like 5 different. Yeah. Dude, I've seen that same
poison prop zombie horde, the one that I had to fix when I worked at Chamber of Horrors a million freaking times.
Dude, I've seen that prop at least in 5 haunts. Like, it's kind of fucking crazy. But whatever. I get why, they want to use, similar elements. Because not everyone, a normal kind of bystander, a normal person that isn't into Halloween and haunts goes to maybe one a year. And to them, that's special. We're going at it as an enthusiast where we see, I recognize that severed arm that moves. I recognize the painting that looks like it's actually an LED screen that, so a lot of them, they share similar props and items, but, I'm not a good judge when it comes to that because I've been to so many in the last 30 years of my life. So it's kind of crazy. And I think that's the one thing, Hunt, to go back to nostalgia and what you said about your haunt, about Dark Knight being kind of a throwback haunt. I do miss the more practical nature of haunts. These LED screens and some of the kind of animatronics that you see at like Lowe's and Home Depot being used in them. Kind of cheap, you know. The clown trope, the barn of clowns, or the fun house portion, dude. Every haunt has it, and I wish some of them would do away with that because it's not fucking scary. You know
what I've never seen at any haunt anywhere? A clown with a chainsaw. That's something new, and I've definitely never seen that done anywhere before.
Innovation.
See, there you go.
Not sarcasm.
Did AI come up with that one?
Yes. If AI
came up with that, it would have been good.
Yes, I was about to say that it wouldn't have been as boring. So, without spoiling too much, is there anything that you can tease that you guys are doing that's innovative with this haunt? Without, obviously, I don't want you to give it all away, but maybe one thing that you think is different from other haunts. Again, you don't have to go into great detail.
Different from other haunts. I mean, one of the most basic things that I can say is, we offer more. That's really what it comes down to. It's a higher quality production, and you get more fear for your dollar. You get more things to do for your dollar. You get more fright and fun. It's not just scary. We are a event that kind of combines a very particular cynical sense of humor and sarcasm and social commentary with, our love for what this is and what that ends up being, especially this year. This is the largest event myself and my partners have ever produced in our careers. And considering Marty's age, I mean, Marty's been doing this 20 plus years. Marty started freaking Blood Manor and Chamber of Horrors. That's saying something. People are going to be able to come and they're going to get 9 different haunted attractions. They're going to get a massive vendor market. We have a vintage Halloween museum. We have immersive photo experiences. We have a photo op trail. We have a pumpkin trail. We have so much more that we have yet to announce, including, here's one thing we've been teasing, but at the time this thing goes up, it'll probably be announced already. We are doing the Generations from Beyond drive-through attraction. That's going to be open at a couple of nights at the haunt as well. So you come, you spend your $35, and you are busy the entire night, and that's assuming you're going to be able to do everything in one night, which we don't want to be the case. I wanted to build an event that you're going to have to come back to multiple times to do everything, and we're getting close to that goal.
That's promising, man. I like that. I like that you want people to kind of go back more than once during the season. A lot of haunts, you're in and out, and you're in line longer than you are in the actual haunt sometimes.
Yeah,
that's
that's what we're trying to avoid here. You have so much to do. It's all spread out. It's like a giant festival. It's like Long Island's equivalent to Halloween Horror Nights.
Very cool, man. That's good to hear. I'm excited.
Yes.
One more thing I want to talk about, because I usually ask our guests this all the time, just the love of Halloween, the holiday. Where did it start, and why is it so personal to you? Why do you love Halloween so much? Again, you run haunts, so I'm assuming you love Halloween as well.
Yeah, it's a purely Irish thing. This is something that, goes back in the bloodline. Obviously, us Irish, we started the whole thing with Samhain, and then it just kind of got Christianized and then corporatized and capitalized upon. And as someone who, I come from the bloodline that started this thing, I deserve to get a little piece of that cut. So, but no, it's definitely something that has always been there.
So we're going to see turnips instead of pumpkins on your trails?
You're damn right you are.
All right.
Manny's looking forward to the carved turnip.
I want to see some Spring Heel Jack. Let's go.
There you go.
Nobody does that.
No one does that. You're right. Weird. You would think you'd see more
Well, I
of that.
will tell you, we are going to have an appearance by Crom somewhere in the attraction.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yes.
So it's more of just a lineage thing. That's why you love Halloween.
Very much so, and that's honestly the only logical explanation, because before I grew up and I realized, hey, Halloween actually started with the Irish, I had no idea why I liked it. It was just kind of second nature.
Yeah, you liked candy and you liked spooky shit. Probably more than likely.
Honestly, yeah, I didn't like the candy, or I liked the candy. Let's be honest here. But then it got to the point where I was like 5 years old, and from like 5 till 12, every single holiday I celebrated and got gifts for, whether it's Christmas or my birthday or whatever, my relatives would just end up getting Halloween props. So I always had a foot in the game somehow.
I want you to know you're the first person that used being Irish as the reason why they love Halloween. So
hey, listen, it's the only thing I have to use in today's climate. So
Okay, we won't go there. So we'll dead that right there. But yeah, man. So since you run out, which you're really enjoying that one, huh? So since you run a haunted attraction and you've been doing it for years, I thought it would be fitting for us to talk about some fictional haunted attractions from TV and film. Now, the rules are very loose because I think even when we were talking about it, Manny and I, Manny, I think picked one or two things and I was like, that kind of fits. Basically, in a nutshell, as long as the haunted attraction is in the movie or in the TV show in some cases, it counts. And it's used, in a way to kind of tell the story. I was leaning more towards fictional haunts, but I know some of the picks we have, there's some real haunts that are being used in a fictional sense, I guess is what you would say. So those count as well. So, Aidan, since you're the guest, hit us with your first pick.
You're not going to believe the first picture I ever saw. It was your friend's. Dracula.
Oh, that's incredible. That's the first picture I ever saw.
That is incredible. I had to sleep with the lights on for a week.
I had to sleep with the lights on for a month, but I never missed a Lugosi picture after that one.
A few years ago, I actually saw him do Dracula live. It was much scarier in person.
Oh, we're stuck.
So my first pick is, and I forget the name of it because I am a dumbass, but I absolutely love the Tim Burton saturated dark ride from Tim Burton's 94 film Ed Wood, which is one of my favorite films. But that dark ride pretty much encapsulates everything that made the golden age of Burton work. It had his signature artistic style. It had that kind of camp and cheese and whimsy to it that, has been lost in many, many years since. And I feel like everyone can kind of agree on that. But I'm a huge dark ride fan myself. I help run the Dark Ride Archive on Facebook and YouTube, which we have a couple of correspondents that go around the country just reviewing and documenting dark rides and fun houses and haunted attractions. It's another, it's I guess a haunted attraction is a subset of dark ride, or maybe it's the other way around. But I mean, if you like one, you're most likely going to like the other.
And in that scene, I will say one of my favorite moments is I think something swings at them. It's and they have to duck out of the way.
And he knows it's there. He's been on it so many times. He knows. He just it's perfect timing.
It's him. It's Johnny Depp and Sarah Jessica Parker, right? That are riding it. Oh no, or is it?
No, it's not Sarah Jessica Parker.
Patricia Arquette, right?
Yeah.
Because it's
Sarah
their first
Jessica
date.
part where Parker tips out earlier in the film. And also, funny enough, that is the I think only movie Sarah Jessica Parker is in where she is self-referential enough to make a joke about her actually being a horse. So yeah.
You're right. She took it on the chin in that piece of. I forgot about that line of dialogue, but that on is cool.
I will never forget about that line. That's like forgetting that the Turtle Club scene from Master of Disguise was filmed during 9/11. I mean, come on, who forgets these things?
I have a confession to make. I've never seen Master of Disguise, so
you are the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
You are missing out.
That's the Dana Carvey movie, right?
Yes, it is.
Unfortunately,
I've never seen. I know what it is. I know he does a whole turtle thing in it, but I don't know.
Turtle.
Yeah, I don't know anything else about the movie.
You got the Turtle Club. You got racism that hasn't aged well. It's my favorite drinking game movie. And I tried other movies. I actually tried The Love Guru, and after 5 minutes of that, we ended up throwing out the entire DVD player that we had because it was just suck shit. So The Master of Disguise kind of rides that thin line between pure cringe and genius.
But to go back to the dark ride in Ed Wood, now. In that scene, if I remember correctly, they get stuck inside of it, right?
Yes.
You don't see much of the dark ride in the movie. You see literally about 10 seconds of it, and he kind of just talks about loving getting on them in the beginning, and then just kind of hopping on. It's also there's no weight. He just kind of gets on, goes through it. There's a couple of skeletons, and then that swinging thing, and they duck out of the way, and that's basically it.
I think it's a bat that swings at him, right? It's a bat that's just swing,
Yeah, it's. I just remember it being really brief. It's actually come up on the show before, we had an episode a while. We do these episodes called favorite Halloween scenes from non-Halloween movies. And a previous guest chose Ed Wood, but she mentioned this dark ride, but she was mostly focusing on the whole scene with Bela Lugosi taking his teeth out and scaring the trick-or-treaters. So
Martin Wayne, what a great performance.
Oh, dude, Ed Wood is, I'll be honest, probably the best Tim Burton movie. It's like the most underrated,
Thank you. Yes.
I don't know. I'm curious what Manny's take is on that.
I love Ed Wood.
Yeah.
I love Ed Wood.
If you had to pick your favorite Tim Burton movie, what would it be? Off the top of your head. I'm putting you on the spot.
I mean, all I'm thinking is Ed Wood right now because we're talking about it. So.
Yes. It's probably his best. Honestly, it's his best made movie.
I'm gonna. It's either Ed Wood or Beetlejuice.
Yeah, Beetlejuice is fucking
between the one
too.
and two of them. I mean, I haven't enjoyed a Tim Burton movie since Sleepy Hollow. So
that was 98. That was a long time ago.
Yeah. I saw that in the theater. That was great. I loved
Sleepy
it in the
Hollow's
theater.
awesome. Yeah.
You know, but I have not enjoyed one of his movies since.
What has he made since? Fucking Alice in Wonderland and like fucking Willy Wonka?
He's made a ton of movies. He did and Dark Shadows and
they were terrible.
What was the
one with, those movies are all garbage.
He did I know they're garbage. That's what I just said.
Big Fish was pretty good.
Big Fish was all right. Big Fish
yeah,
was all right.
Yeah.
Big Fish was pretty good, and Big Eyes I remember being okay. Those were like his kind of non-IP original work.
Johnny Depp with white face paint and a blue light and a funny movies. Hat.
Yeah,
that's pretty much all he does right now. Johnny Depp with white paint and a blue light.
But Ed Wood is. I think I would agree. Beetlejuice, Ed Wood for me. I'd have to really sit down and think about like how I'd rank all of his movies. That would make for a fun episode. But I would have to really sit and just think about it. But Ed Wood would definitely be high on the list just because especially being a filmmaker, and I'm sure that's why it resonates with Manny as well because we're both filmmakers. Just kind of that aspect of it and the guy believing in himself even though he's making shitty movies and how much he loves.
I've said it on set many, many times. You're not seeing the big picture.
Exactly. You're not seeing the big picture.
picture.
Great line. Everything about that. My favorite scene in Ed Wood, and I know we're not really focusing on the dark ride because there really is not much to that scene. It's literally a first date and they go through it and they're in it for like 2 seconds. But my favorite scene, and it just reminds, because Manny and I have worked, Manny and I have been friends for like 20 years, and we've worked on each other's projects. We've made projects together, and it just reminds me of stuff we used to do like 10 years ago. And there's that scene where I believe he's dressed in women's clothing and he's going up to like the storefront to like look at wardrobe, and the cops are coming. He's like, run!
We don't have permits.
Yeah, we don't have permits. Run! What do we do? Run! That's it. Like that scene just reminds like indie filmmaking, like guerrilla style filmmaking. When you want to get that shot, you're not supposed to be fucking doing it, and you gotta run. Sometimes you gotta fucking break. Manny and I many times have been in parks after dark where we're not supposed to be shooting and doing stuff. And what's that noise in the bush? Probably a homeless person or someone crazy.
Yep.
Let's run out of here. But yeah, man, the Ed Wood Dark Ride. Good, brief but good pick.
Ride my famous murder ride. Most of all, don't forget to take home some of my tasty fried chicken.
I guess. Okay, so I had a different pick originally.
Yeah.
What you mentioned earlier, we were talking about different types of haunts and stuff, and I had asked about something that was very McCamey Manor style. Like, does that count as a haunt? Which is really the debate to begin with. Like, are those things haunts, or are they? I prefer to call them like immersive experiences.
Yes.
That one specifically is what it is, but there's a lot of things that like that, and I wanted to pick a movie called Ruin Me, which is essentially that. But I thought it was a little long because it's the entire movie.
Yeah,
is these people going to this? So I thought it was a bit much, and somehow, some way, in one form or another, Louis gets me to talk about Rob Zombie.
I don't know why.
He keeps lining it up for me to do this, and I don't know why. He's
the Rob Zombie guy.
He's painting me as the Rob Zombie guy for years. So,
I'm Manny. I love you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to do it to you.
So, So coincidentally, so I've been researching. Watched Ruin Me 2 or 3 times this week just because it was so long. I was trying to find a way to condense the conversation down. Then last night, I happened to go to last night. Not happened to go that I bought tickets months ago. I saw Rob Zombie with Alice Cooper, Ministry, and Filter,
and that's why
he's so jealous. I had to work.
That's why he's the Rob Zombie guy. Look, he went. Yes. He went last night.
I literally saw Rob Zombie live last night.
At the time of this recording, Manny literally was witnessing a Rob Zombie performance.
Yep. And couple maybe when he first pitched this idea if we were going to do this in the first place, he said to me, he's like, you could do Captain Spaulding's Murder Ride. I was like, why the fuck would I do Captain Spaulding's Murder Ride? Why would I? Well, because why am I the Rob Zombie guy? Then I went to see him last night, and I decided that I'm going to do Captain Spaulding's Murder Ride. But I have more than just the fact that Louis is an asshole for doing it.
Oh, God.
I think I know the exact reason, too. So let's see if I'm
You
right.
actually don't. It's actually very personal. It's actually a very personal reason, so you don't. But I'd like to hear what your idea is. The fact is, I saw Rob Zombie for the first time on the Sinister Urge tour when they premiered the House of a Thousand Corpses trailer. And this was the big release. This was the first time anyone was going to see footage from the movie. I think, Lou, were you at that show too?
I was. It's come up before.
At
I was
Hammerstein
at that show.
Ballroom.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
We didn't know each other.
Yeah, we did not know each other at the time.
Wait, what year was that again? What year was that?
2000 or 2001. Yeah. Because this was before they had an official release yet.
Yes.
You know? Something approximately, yes, because it was even before I met her, before I met you. You and Lynn, it was 2002 when I met you. Yeah. So it was before that. It was at least 2001. So I was at that show. Clearly, you were at that show, and then me and you and my wife Lindsay, we went to see House of a Thousand Corpses together when it was actually released.
Yeah,
and then last night, at the concert, they played the House of a Thousand Corpses trailer because it's the 20-year re-release theatrical. They're doing a theatrical re-release of the film. And I said, this motherfucker's going to get me to talk about Rob Zombie.
That's amazing.
Because I just thought, you know what? It's a really good story because it fits this specifically. It fits me and Lou purposely. Like, it's literally bookending our friendship. Like, when we first met, I think House of a Thousand Corpses was one of the first films we went to go see together. Yeah. And now we're doing this show. We're talking murder rides and stuff. And I just so happened to find out they're doing a re-release of the film. So, all right, Captain Spaulding's Murder Ride it is.
That is a great pick.
You know, it's a cool little thing. It's much like Ed Wood, where it's only like 2 minutes of the film. But
however, sorry to interrupt. My bad.
No, but the whole film kind of revolves around it. But what was your reason for?
It kind of like jumps off of the point that you just made. You said it's brief, but it's impactful. It's actually more impactful than most people realize. The Murder Ride was a big part of the reason that House of a Thousand Corpses, the movie, got made. You see, the story goes that in the late 90s, early 2000s, like when Rob Zombie was pitching, it was Universal or Warner Brothers, Universal on the whole script and trying to make his first movie. They had obviously been doing Halloween Horror Nights for a while, and their first project together was a maze at Universal Hollywood. I want to say in the 99, 98 season, something like that.
Was the first one, because I think they just hit 25 this year.
And it was Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses, and it was a maze built to look like an old dark ride that took you through, some of history's serial killers. Fast forward to when the movie is being made, they threw all those sets and the animatronics, they threw this whole haunted maze at Universal into storage, and that actually became the Murder Ride. So for a time, and most people never would have known this when they were walking through it, but some people had the chance to actually walk through in person what would become Captain Spaulding's Murder Ride in the movie. And I also have, it's not the particular piece, but it's an exact duplicate. It's kind of rare. The Bloody Mary animatronic that swings out with the axe. I actually was able to get that off an old haunted attraction. So,
wow.
No, Lizzie Borden.
Lizzie Borden, yes.
Lizzie Borden.
Yeah.
That's cool. I did not know that. I knew he had a haunt.
I did at the time, actually.
Okay.
That's something I knew then because I remember he was doing a haunted house for Universal, and I was like, oh my fucking, I gotta go see this. And I've never made it to one of the, because he's designed like 5 different years for them over the course of time, and I've never made it to one of the years that he did. But I remember when they did that, and I was like, "This is awesome!" And they said, "Well, now he's making a movie based on the house that he built for them." And I was like, "This is really cool." And then the song came out, and I was like, "This is awesome." And then Universal turned out to be scumbags or degenerates, and they dropped the film. And
we've talked about, I think we've talked about that, and I think when we talked about it briefly when we covered El Super Beasto, I think we might have talked about it. So a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So the ride itself, for those who haven't seen it, I'm sure damn near everybody has seen it at this point.
Yeah.
The ride itself is you say it's a dark ride. Surprising. What is there? 4 or 5 of them of the people?
There's 4 of them in the cart. Yeah.
And they're all in one little cart with Captain Spaulding literally on it.
Yeah. And then the guy behind it pushing it.
Yes, and pushing it.
Yeah, which is my favorite part of that.
Yes.
Is that he's pushing the cart with 5 grown adults. It's Erwin Keyes, I believe, is the guy, is the actor's name. So
yeah, and he's physically pushing it like we're at Indiana Jones type Temple of Doom cart, and he's and the murder ride is exactly that, where they're talking about murderers, famous murderers, and they go through Albert Fish and Lizzie Borden, Lizzie Borden comes at them with the axe, and Lizzie Borden, and who is it? Chris Hardwick is the one who's all excited about it. He pulled Chris Hardwick of MTV fame way back at that time.
I've always thought he was so obnoxious in those scenes. I don't know.
He is obnoxious.
It's horrible.
I think he's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's the point.
I also think that was kind of the joke of the fact that it's Chris Hardwick playing it, considering he was an MTV host.
Yeah.
Where that whole persona of being a host is kind of obnoxious and in your face.
Yeah.
So I think that Rob Zombie might have done that on purpose. Like, you're going to play up the person you played on TV and just be very, Dr. Satan, through the whole movie. And then they get to the Ed Gein room. And they mention that, the Psycho and Leatherface, he mentions that. And then they get to the fictional room of Dr. Satan, who is the killer in that Dr. Satan, S. Quentin Quayle.
Yeah, such a great name.
Yes. Always go with alliteration. When you can go with alliteration, go with alliteration. Always. And then they show, he explains how I totally blanked on the murders he did, the amount of murders and whatever he did. And then we basically cut to them jumping out the door, Dr. Satan, and they're all excited that they saw it, and that's the end of it. It's a whole 2 minutes, but it's the catalyst for the film. It's the reason they're here in the first place, and it ends up being the beginning of their demise.
Yeah. Most people probably that are listening to our show know what it looks like, but it is visually the craziest looking thing, like at the end where he comes out screaming.
Like my room, right?
Well, no, but at the very end, isn't like a giant like head at the very end or something they walk out of, like a big demonic face or skull or something?
I think it's painted on the door. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and just everything. Even when you go in, like the actual ride itself, there's one thing that always stood out to me, and it's the dumbest little thing that I always found hysterical. There's a shot where you see like a torso of a dummy, and it's just hitting a gate and going, why? Why?
Why?
It's so bad, but I always find it amusing. And all the animatronics inside.
It's the broken zombie.
I know, but it just,
it's the broken zombie prop that's in every haunted house.
And then all the animatronics look great. Like the Dr. Satan one, he's wearing like blue scrubs. The Ed Gein one. The Albert Fish one where he's like chopping off someone's foot or something like that. It is a great scene. It's very Rob Zombie. Like when you see that, it's like that is his aesthetic. It's perfect. And everyone, and I think that's really, the movie, and I know Manny wasn't the biggest fan of House of a Thousand Corpses when it came out.
I was when I saw it.
Yeah, and
then I got it on, and then when I got the DVD home, like, you know, whenever it was released on DVD, it was like a year later, because that's how long those things took then. I saw it again, I was like, God, this movie sucks.
Yeah.
Like, this is actually really bad. You know? But I don't know, over the years I've come to enjoy it, you know, for what it is.
It's dumb fun. It's a great, and focusing on this scene, on this specific, murder ride, the actual ride itself. They did a great job with the production design of it. There's every detail in that haunt, even down to it being so cheap that the dude has to push the people through the track, like over that track. I love that. And then Captain Spaulding kind of hosting it with the little skeleton pin that he pulls and it chatters.
You know what it is? Rob Zombie's a carny.
Yeah.
Like, he's a carny. He grew up in a carny family. Mm-hmm. So he's been to these sorts of roadside attractions. He ran these, his parents ran these sorts of things. So he literally has firsthand knowledge of the types of things that they would do to make an attraction work in the back of a gas station chicken hut in the middle of nowhere, Ohio or Texas or something. What would you do? Especially because, he was doing this in the 60s. In the 70s, he was growing up in, traveling the country and being a carny. So he saw these rides that were built, these sorts of roadside attractions that were built in the 50s and 60s. And maybe they were mechanical at one point, but eventually that mechanism broke and they couldn't afford to fix it because they got 2 people a week coming to see it. And you know what? Fuck it. Push it.
Yeah. It's authentic, man. Yeah,
that's how it works.
You can see it. Yeah, it feels authentic.
I feel like at some point at Universal there was some douche under the water pushing the shark up over because it's so freaking broken.
Amazing.
There's at some point somebody's cranking just to get it to work for the day. We only got one more show of the day. Just make it work.
Make it work so we can fucking
there's somebody back there. Yeah, there's somebody back there with like electric blowtorch just scratching it in the dark. Like there's your sparks.
Yeah.
That
is a good pick though.
Man, what you're saying right now reminds me of a trip I took last summer to Rye Playland here in New York, and they have 2 great dark rides at Rye Playland, but unfortunately on the day I went, everything inside the rides was broken.
Yeah.
Everything. So I rode through 2 dark rides where absolutely nothing was happening. I don't know if the air compressors were busted or whatever, but there was not a single bit of movement in either of the dark rides, and it very much feels like that whole kind of corny thing.
I'm quite familiar with those. Zombie Castle and Dante's Inferno. We reviewed them in the infancy of Haunted Hangover. My sister was the host of that episode.
I've never even been to Rye Playland.
Dude, I have a soft spot for that Zombie Castle dark ride. There's that part where I believe someone's supposed to be getting electrocuted and the cart vibrates.
Yes.
It's that's a great little moment that happens in that ride. But yes, very authentic. The murder ride in House of a Thousand Corpses literally feels like one of those rides, but obviously it's a movie, so they were able to kind of fuck with lighting and make it look even better. And they're never that good, but it did feel really authentic. And Manny, I'm sorry I made you talk about Rob Zombie once again.
So, the Chamber of Thoughts has another victim, eh? Don't be afraid. There aren't any ghouls here. Only bots!
All right, so my first pick is a brief one. Most of these are because unless the entire film takes place in the haunted attraction, they're usually 2 or 3 minute scenes that happen. But my first pick is a dumb one. It's very dumb. This is probably the dumbest thing I've ever talked about on the podcast. I'm a big South Park fan. I watched it since it started in '97. I have been watching it. I will admit throughout the years I've had my ups and downs with the show. There'll be times I don't watch it for 2 years and then watch a bunch of episodes randomly, then go back and stop and then go. I know people hate it. My wife hated South Park. And then eventually, living with me, she learned to love the fucking show. I don't know how that happened. She just watched it so much she started to enjoy it. Manny, you're not a South Park fan, right? At all? Yeah.
Nope.
Aidan, you gave up?
I gave up a long time ago.
Do you like South Park?
I very much appreciate it. I grew up not being able to watch it, and by the time that I was finally grown and had my own place and everything, it had been on for how many seasons, and it's been kind of like a constant catch-up game. I own a bunch of the seasons on DVD, but I do have to say between the two, and no offense to South Park because I love it and I totally get the joke, and I think it's very smart. I prefer like early Simpsons.
Yeah, I'm a big Simpsons fan too. So.
Yeah, there you go.
It's tough. It's tough to compare the two shows. Both have been on for so goddamn long. The Simpsons even more. What, fucking 35 years or something like that. So it's kind of crazy. I think the Simpsons has been on since I was 3 years old. So
I will say though, you got me here. Trey Parker and Matt Stone were not on the Epstein flight logs.
Oh, okay, there you go. That's fucking. All right, there we go. Once
Good
again, we'll leave that there. But yes, the haunted attraction I'm talking about is the Chamber of Farts from the Cow Days episode from season 2, and it's episode 13. So I'm not going to give you.
I've seen this episode. I don't remember it.
More than likely. I love this gag. It's fucking stupid. It's dumb. I've got an immature fucking sense of humor sometimes. This also inspired me to create my own fictional haunt commercial that I did last year for the Haunted Hangover Halloween special. This Chamber of Farts kind of gave me the idea to make a haunted house that their whole gimmick is that the haunted house will make you shit yourself. So I literally put together an entire fake commercial, and this was the reason why I did it, because I was trying to come up with ideas, and I said, this is fucking stupid, so I'm going to do something that's fucking stupid, too, for the Halloween special. So in the episode, what ends up happening are the
Good
boys.
Inspiration.
Yeah, great
Stupid.
inspiration, South Park.
This is so stupid, I want to be just as stupid.
Yes, exactly. That's what I
It's
wanted.
so dumb.
It's so dumb, I want to make something dumber. But
I can't help but be dumb.
But in the episode, the boys are at an amusement park, and they want to get on. They see this attraction, the Chamber of Farts, and they want it to be scary. They approach it, and they're like, "Oh, is this like a haunted house?" And the guy at the front, like the entrance, goes, "Yeah, it's very scary." And the haunted house itself is literally a giant ass with cobwebs, a bat, and a spider hanging off of the side. And you enter through the butthole. The cart goes through.
Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you? Exactly.
Where else would you enter? I mean, come on.
Come on. The cart enters the butthole. Once the boys are inside, they come across this literal shitty cemetery with green fumes everywhere and a bunch of small asses on the walls. And there's also this static woman just standing there, shocked or something, confused. She's just there limping over to the side. And it's so dumb. There is a narrator, very Haunted Mansion-esque. And he basically tells them, "Welcome to the Chamber of Farts. Here's another victim." And he goes, "There are no ghouls in here. Only farts." And what ends up happening is these cannons shoot farts at them, and they enter this room called the Hall of Farts and the gas caverns. It is the dumbest thing, and as you can see and hear, I am quite amused by it. It is fucking dumb. And they leave. Yes.
The more you talk about this, you didn't visit us last year. Last year we had an attraction named Spoopies, tagline Long Island's shittiest haunted house. That was essentially we built it in the bathrooms because they have these crazy looking like underground bathrooms at the amphitheater. We built it all in there, and it was all like kind of a very tongue-in-cheek mashup of ghoulies, gremlins, and the mud shit monsters from Spookies.
That's amazing.
But it was fart jokes throughout the whole thing. It's almost to a T what you're describing.
Well,
so,
there you go.
Knight, we did that.
You guys unintentionally parodied the Chamber of Farts from South Park. But yeah, dude, I've always loved this and this is literally a minute and a half. This is the shortest segment ever. But I just love the interaction. I love when, like, there's a part where one of the cannons go off in Cartman's face, and he's like, God damn it! Like, he's upset that the fucking fart hit him in the face. And then they all leave disappointed. Like, Stan or Kyle is like, that
What
wasn't...
is their problem? Disappointed.
Yeah,
this is like the bang for your buck. What do you mean? Disappointed? What is wrong with them? This is why I don't like the show.
Not Cartman, but Stan or Kyle go, that wasn't scary, that was lame. And Cartman's like, I don't know what you're talking about. That was amazing, or that was good. Like, he enjoyed the Chamber of Farts. Now, just everything about it, when you think of like shitty dark rides, to kind of go back to the previous two picks, because we are talking about dark rides. You know, when you're a kid and you go into some of these like dark rides at carnivals, they always look super intimidating on the outside, but usually when you get on them, there's nothing scary about them. So I'm guessing that's what this was a parody of. It's like, ooh, the Chamber of Farts. Dare you to enter the Chamber of Farts and all that. And it's like, there's nothing scary. You're literally getting hit with farts while you're in there. So it's kind of mimicking what like old dark rides were, even though, again, nostalgia plays into the way we look at them and we enjoy the shittiness. This is literally shitty, like shitty as in like, there's shit. There's also one more gag I want to point out. I don't think either one of you know this. At the same amusement park, after they get off the Chamber of Farts, Cartman and the rest of the boys go to the end of a line, and there's a guy there, and he goes, oh man, this ride's fucking crazy. You guys have to get on this line. And he goes, how many tickets is it? 7 tickets. They get on the line, and then the line ends. And then the guy at the other end goes, that's the ride. And he goes, what line is this? The line ride. They paid to get on a ride that's just a long-ass line. And
I remember that.
You know, I think about that every time I'm at like an amusement park, like I'm at Disney, Universal Studios.
The line, yeah.
When you're waiting in line to get on another queue, there's a line for the queue to get on the ride. So there's like a long-ass line. And that's the line ride.
There's always that in theme parks too, that where you're standing on line outside, you get in the door, and there's another line there's another secret line inside. It's like, oh yeah, no, we're almost there. As soon as you step to the door, there's 300 more people in front of you. And it's like, what are you kidding me? There's another line. Then you get through that line, and sometimes there's another smaller line. Like,
where they break you into goddamn cart.
Yes. Yeah, then they break you into like five lines to get into the damn things. Yep.
You're forgetting the opening show, because you get 2 lines in some rides now, and then you have the opening show where they pack like 50-something people in a room. They place some kind of freaking, the backstory. They demonstrate the backstory for everyone. And after that, guess what? It's another line.
You get the pre-show, you get a line, pre-show, line, and then you finally get on the ride. It is kind of crazy.
It's the drive-through mentality. That's actually how the drive-through was created, the drive-through restaurants. That's how it was created. When they created the first drive-through line, people complained that they were waiting at the window for too long, and they were waiting on that the line went long. So they literally, I forget what restaurant it was, but they broke out a part of the wall on the other side of the building. And that's where you give your order. And then you drive around the building to pick up your food like you do now.
Yeah.
And he said this, and whoever it was, the guy was like, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to make people wait, but not make them realize that they're waiting. So they place their order. By the time they get around to the other side, their food is ready, which is exactly what we do now.
Interesting. I did not know that. Hitting me with some knowledge.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's what they're doing. They're tricking you into waiting.
But yeah, that was my first pick, the Chamber of Farts from South Park. I will always love it. It's hilarious.
Hey, did you hear what I said? Get the hell out of here before I fuck you up.
All right, so as we've been talking about this, I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't choose the the dark ride from the live action Scooby-Doo movie, because that was probably what did it for me as a kid. But, honestly, in recent years, I'm not a huge fan of slashers anymore. I like, some of the original stuff. And then, it's gotten to be so oversaturated, just so overdone. Terrifier 2, though, a lot of people were pestering me to see it last year, and I actually ended up enjoying it for more reasons than I thought. But one big part of that is I remember when the film was in production, my buddy Kevin Alvey, who owns Gorgolore, which is another haunted attraction prop manufacturer, he posted that some of their stuff was going to be used in the movie. I was like, oh, do they walk through a haunted house in the movie? And sure as shit they do for the entire second half of the film. It was actually filmed in Fright Factory, which is close to Philly. They kind of set it up like it's at a carnival, but it's actually a massive haunted house in a warehouse in Philly somewhere. And honestly, those sets, I watch it and I just fall in love because they're fantastic sets. You got awesome animatronics in there, and it's all got a very old school feel. Like we tried doing at Dark Knight. That kind of classic. You get your basic themes in there, and they're well done. You get some really good church sections and a graveyard and this and that. And it kind of reminded me, okay, yeah, this is the magic, and I feel like that was an intentional choice by Damien Leone.
Yeah, it was funny when you told me that pick. I didn't even realize because, and I'm not going to get into it here because that's a story for another day. I'm not a big Terrifier fan. I've seen both movies one time each, and I actually watched the second one in the last, I'd say 4 months or so, 5 months. And I completely forgot that the final act of the film takes place in a haunted attraction. Manny in our group chat when we were setting up this episode
I said, "What, did you fall asleep?
Did you fall asleep?"
The second half of the movie
last act is in a haunted house, and I was like, "Really?" I didn't even.
It's about 40 minutes of the movie. First off, you get 10 minutes in Abracadabra alone.
That I remembered.
Yes.
I remembered. Yeah.
It's 10 minutes in Abracadabra alone. And then the little brother gets kidnapped, and we have 15 minutes on our way to the carnival. And then the friends get killed outside the carnival, and then we spend the whole rest of the movie in the carnival. So I said, "What, did you fall asleep? How did you miss that shit? We're in the haunted carnival for an hour."
There is one thing that Manny remembers from that movie. Fucking Mr. Chamber of Farts over here only remembers in the first 5 minutes when that girl takes the fucking shit everywhere, and then he just tapped out after that.
Dude, all I remember, I wish I remembered that. I don't even remember that. All I remember is him killing the dude in Abracadabra, and the only reason I remember that is because being from New York, obviously, we all know Abracadabra as a Halloween store to buy costumes, props, and things like that. So, of course, that I was like, "Oh shit, that's Abracadabra."
Do you remember
the haunted house? I completely forgot. I don't even remember how the movie ends. So,
dude, you need to watch it again.
There's a clown.
I'm surprised that you didn't love Terrifier 2 because, number one, the whole movie takes place on Halloween. The gore and effects are absolutely amazing. I think it's really, really funny movie, and Sienna is one of the best final girl. Her journey from beginning to end is one of the best that I've ever seen. It is iconic. She became an iconic final girl. It's amazing. I absolutely love her. I think she's a great actor. She carried the whole movie amazing.
I'm shocked you love this movie, in all honesty.
And I hate the other stuff.
I know.
All the
I'm
other Art the Clown
surprised.
stuff is terrible. Me and Eric saw this in the theater, and I laughed for the entire 2.5 hours. It was so funny. It was so good.
It was number one. It was way too long.
I don't think it was.
Fine.
It was very long. Look, coming from somebody who made a 2 hour and 5 minute slasher film that you wrote, sir.
Yes, I know.
Sir, excuse me.
You
wrote the movie.
I will not say that our movie is any better either.
Oh no, ours is a piece of shit.
Yeah. So listen, I don't want to get into it because I think that would be a fun thing for you and I, Manny, to one day maybe cover them because I am not a big fan of either film. I'll say this. And this has nothing to do with the end of the film taking place in the haunted attraction because I don't remember anything. But I do think it's cool that they used an actual haunted attraction to shoot in. That's fucking awesome. I will say that because I didn't know that, Aidan, so I'm glad you hit me with that knowledge. That's pretty cool, and I give them a lot of credit for supporting a haunt. I'm sure they made some money too as well for they paid them, I'm sure, to shoot there. But I'll say this: I hope so too. This is my kind of the reason why I'm not crazy about it, and it might sound dumb. I don't know. I don't like the way the movies look. I know they're shot digital. There's no texture. There is no kind of it lacks something in the look of the films. Be very honest. And this is coming from a low budget indie filmmaker who does not have money to make my stuff look like these giant fucking, autumn fantasy worlds, but there is something lacking in the Halloween vibe kind of ambiance for me in the movies. Number 2, I do not get the Art the Clown infatuation. I do not understand it.
I don't get it either.
I don't get it. I don't think he is cool looking. I don't think the performance is anything to cry home about. I think the gore is cool. As far as the lead, the female lead, I didn't even remember her name. So obviously her character arc didn't resonate with me. I just didn't I literally watched the movie and I was just like, I wanted it to be over. I was just like, this did not. I honestly, even the gore, all my friends hyped it up that the gore is great and amazing and a lot of fun. I wanted more of it. I didn't think it was as gore. I think I was getting hyped up so much that I was expecting like a bloodbath, and
I feel like if they chopped the movie down, you would end up with a bloodbath. And honestly, sorry, Manny, but I agree with Willie here. As someone who liked Terrifier 2 a lot, I definitely feel like it could have been shorter. And I kudos to them for the soundtrack pick, by the way. The fucking soundtrack's amazing. The song choice is
Gunship.
So
oh, man.
Yeah, it's got a
Gunship. Right in the beginning.
Don't get me started on Gunship. Don't get me started on Gunship. But I feel like the movie, as someone who likes it, would have been eons better, even with like a cheap After Effects VHS filter on it. I feel like that would have sold it even more.
I hate that stuff.
Yes.
See, that stuff I hate. I hate that post-filter shit, because then it looks cheap because all the indie films use it.
A lot of them
hate that so
use
much.
grain
If you're
and stuff,
if you're gonna do it, then just shoot it on that camera and make it look right in the first place.
Again, there's something hollow about it. I don't know. In my opinion, a slasher film like X came out, and I don't think Manny has seen X yet. And there's people that fucking hate X. I thought X was a superior slasher film, in my opinion. It was a Texas Chainsaw kind of ripoff.
I mean, it's a better movie.
It's a better movie. It looks better to me. It's and again, apples to oranges in a way. I'm sure that movie had a bigger budget and stuff like that. I believe that was shot on digital too, and just looks better. So.
I mean, Ty West is a better filmmaker. I mean, there's nothing against Damien Leone. He's an effects artist, though. Ty West can't touch his effects.
Dude, those
those
terrifying movies are so bright. They are so fucking bright.
But that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like, he's an effects artist.
Yeah.
If you handed Ty West, a gallon of latex, he's not going to be able to do what Damien Leone does with it.
Of course,
that's what I'm trying to say. He directed the films out of necessity. Because it's cheaper, and he had to do in order to get the movies made. But he's an effects artist, through and through. Ty West is a director.
Of course.
He's not going to make up this, but he can try, and it's not going to be as. I just think Terrifier 2 was fun.
I'll say this. I'll say that I respect what I think it's awesome that this indie film used crowdfunding and all that shit, and they were able to get into theaters. Art the Clown has developed a cult following and all that. I think that's fucking awesome. They created an icon as far as slashers go. We haven't had a new kind of iconic slasher killer in years, And I don't consider the new Pennywise because that's a story that's been done before. It's not really new. This is from scratch a new killer.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that they were able to create this world. And he's going to make a third one.
Yep.
I don't give a shit. but I know a lot of people do.
They got a $2 million budget for it.
There you go.
Oh
That'll be probably the best looking film.
It's a
That'll
$2
be the
million
best
budget. I think this one was done for like 150 tops.
Yeah.
I think that's like everything.
The last I heard about it was 250K, and then it ended up 16 million on top of that 250K. So talk about a fucking return, you know?
Yeah.
Between that and Skinamarink, I got so excited about filmmaking, indie filmmaking, towards the beginning of this year, because Skinamarink, that was like $15,000. It ended up grossing a couple million, you know? So
yeah, man. Listen, dude,
the
podcast
hustle. I was on was the guy who bought Skinamarink, who sold that to who's the company that released it?
I forget.
Shudder and all them. Yeah, the guy whose show I was on, he's the guy who initially made the deal for Skinamarink.
Listen, man, it's cool as a filmmaker to see other indie filmmakers get their shit out there. That's always awesome. Shudder, getting a limited theatrical release, all that shit. It's awesome, dude. I respect it, and I will always support it and watch the film. I rented fucking Terrifier 2. I paid money to watch it at home.
I had very low expectations for Terrifier 2, but the fact that it was exactly that. It was a full-on 100% indie budget film that made it into theaters. I said, I don't care if this is the worst movie I've ever seen. I need to go to the theater and I need to support this. Period. I went to see The Mean One for the same reason. I don't care if it's terrible. It doesn't matter. The fact that this is in the theater needs to be supported, and it needs my ticket money.
I agree. I agree with that. I don't deny that. I feel like you have to support indie film any way you can, as an indie filmmaker especially. So, but yeah, Aidan, that was a good pick. I do like the association with knowing the guy that the scenes were shot in. I don't remember them, but I will revisit Terrifier 2 soon, so I can refresh my memory.
You know something else you don't remember? You do remember a little. You remember Liberty Massacre that we used to go to?
Yeah.
The fun in Philly.
Yeah.
Lauren Lepre, who runs that.
Yeah.
He's the DJ in the club scene in Terrifier 2.
Didn't even notice.
He plays the DJ. He's in like 2 seconds. He's the DJ in the nightclub scene.
That's fucking hilarious.
You don't remember either.
Don't remember.
What's going on? It broke my tunes. What? Some batter. I don't know what the fuck it was.
Bobby, let's go, please.
Okay, babe, we're going. Hey, man, bring my tunes. God damn it.
Okay, so this one goes again. It's on nostalgia, but I think it's more in what Aidan was saying earlier. How the Ed Wood ride is kind of what sparked this for him. It was, it meant a lot to him. Just that type of thing. Ghoulies 2, Satan's Den in Ghoulies 2. I've been watching Ghoulies 2 since I was a kid, and that ride, it's not even a ride, it's a walkthrough.
It's an actual haunt.
Yes, it's an actual haunt. And when I was a kid, that's what I thought they were all going to be like, and this looked so cool. What's in the movie itself, it's a failing ride. It's a failing attraction. So when a couple people go in, they pretty much have the place to themselves.
There's nobody in there.
Yeah, the group of it. There's a group of teenagers there's a group of heavy metal teenagers with their tunes. He's got his the guy's got his radio, and the guy with the two girlfriends, and they go in and they party. And then there's the two little boys who go in as well, and they never cross paths.
Yeah.
In the haunted house, they never actually cross. They go in more or less back to back.
You would think this is like a fucking mansion that they're in.
Which I'm gonna get to that too.
Yeah.
But they never actually cross paths because the place is just empty, so they can all just wander around. I love the rooms that they have, and I think that the rooms that they have are almost like they're kind of the blueprint for most haunts out there. There's the Pharaoh's Chamber. I had to write it down to remember. There's the Gothic Dracula room. We have the Frankenstein, the electric room, basically. And then there's the torture chamber. And I feel like 80 to 90% of the haunts out there have at least one of these rooms, because it's just a staple. Like, these are things that no matter what, it's always going to work. People are always going to enjoy it. You do something different every year with it. You try to innovate it somehow, but those are basics. You know, like you have, like a corn maze is basic. People enjoy it. You don't have to do anything. Just getting lost in a corn maze, people have fun. You know, you don't have to have actors. You don't have to. And I've been to corn mazes where there's actors who scare you, but you don't have to do any of that. You just let somebody wander for 2 hours, and they have the time of their lives.
And get lost.
You know? Yeah. And I feel like the rooms that are in Satan's Den are those. They are the staples, and no matter what, people are going to enjoy it. But what's funny about this is the fact that they're a carnival. This is a carnival, so they're just a bunch of trucks on the road that set up shop somewhere and then open up, which means Satan's Den is a literal tractor trailer.
Yeah.
Which means it's bigger on the inside. Because there's at least 4 rooms I just named.
Yeah.
A tractor trailer is about 12 to 15 feet wide, 65 to 78 feet long, and about 11 feet high. How is it possible that you can have even 2 people not run into each other?
2 people and ghoulies hiding in corners. The ghoulies are in there too.
Seriously, like they would have had to take like 4 or 5 trailers and put them next to each other with doors that interlock and line them up in order for this house to exist. Yeah. Not to mention that while the 2 kids are in there and the 4 and 5 teenagers are in the other room, fucking this guy's over here doing black magic in another room. And they don't cross paths.
Oh god, that's amazing.
Physically could not exist.
That's fucking amazing. I didn't even
Satan's
think about
Den
that.
Cannot exist. It's a tractor trailer.
Movie magic
at
its best.
As a fun factoid, as you were mentioning, if the concept of building haunts and tractor trailers, which is still done in some places for mobile shows, but and having interlocking doors and things like that, that's actually the reason that the haunted attraction industry as a whole, at large, must follow these really strict safety and fire codes. Is because in 1984, are you guys familiar with the Six Flags fire?
Well, yeah, I am. I'm familiar with it in the 70s,
I'm not.
right?
Yeah.
Tell me the story. I am not.
So haunted attractions used to be completely unregulated. Hey, let's take a bunch of tractor trailers, have no emergency exits that are clearly marked, and put a bunch of flammable stuff in it. And hey, there's no lights, so of course kids going through in the 70s are all going to have lighters on them. Okay, let's use lighters for light. Oh, we have actual locking doors here and no visible emergency exits. Totally nothing can go wrong, And of course, it did. I think it was in the summer of '84. There were, I believe, 8 deaths in the Six Flags Great Adventure Haunted House, and that
kids,
was
right?
bunch of kids. And that is the reason why the regulations were set in place for our industry, and that's why any haunted attraction you're going to go to now, sensors and smoke beams and fire suppression systems, everything's doused in fire retardant spray. There's so many things that we must do to be able to open, and it's all because of that.
It's funny story. Real quick.
Six Flags and Action Park changed everything.
Both of my parents went through that haunt. Both of my parents have gone through that haunted attraction. Like, they remember going through it at Six Flags back in the day, and they've told me so many stories about it. People would like go in and not come out, like purposely stay in there and try to scare other people and shit like that. So my mother's told me like it was pretty dangerous, like just the experience of going through it. It was dark, like not dark in the way where you're having a good time, dark in the way of like you're just crashing into like splinter filled walls and just like scraping the shit out of your face and stuff like that. So yeah, man, that's
actually what did
story.
it.
Yeah,
the first thing that went up, I believe, this is still their theory, is a mattress that was mounted to a wall, because if that mattress wasn't there, people would have ran straight into plywood.
It's a really sad story. There's actually, I believe,
very much so.
Yeah, if you go to Great Adventure or Six Flags, whatever the hell, I think it's still called Great Adventure. There's actually a memorial somewhere. There's a plaque, I think, or something in the park I believe. I remember
The one in
hearing.
Jersey too.
Yeah, this happened
one?
in the one in Jersey.
The one here.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was a bunch of people from New
never heard of
York went over there and died. So it's kind of fucking sad.
So it's
really
Jersey
sad.
getting back at us for dumping all our garbage on there.
Dude, there is oh god. There is a someone put together a great kind of documentary on YouTube. I'd highly recommend checking out. It's on YouTube. It's about 30-40 minutes long. They put together this whole thing. And it's a great watch. It's really sad, like being like a haunt enthusiast and you being a haunt, creator. You create them. I'd recommend watching it if you haven't. It's both interesting and depressing, and it's cool to kind of see what it looked like and images from inside and things. But yeah, it is a really sad story. So big bummer. Satan's Den definitely looked like it. So go back to that. So
Satan's that's the thing about Satan's Den. It doesn't look cheap. I mean, it looks a little cheap. It looks cheesy.
So, yeah,
it looks cheesy, but it doesn't look like it's built in a tractor trailer. Like the ceilings are super high, the rooms are really big. Like it's clearly a fully built set.
Yeah.
And like there's no way this is in the trailer. Like they walk in. In fact, if you look at it, when they get in the line, they walk up the stairs, and then there's the two doors there. There's the entry and the exit door. When they step in, that's pretty much the tractor trailer. In reality, this is the trailer, and that's it. You're now in the haunted house. But no, in this, that's just the hallway to get you into the house. So it's like, where does this lead?
Where does this go?
Where could this possibly be leading? Like, I mean, you literally have to put the trailers like side by side and tear off like the walls in order to make this room physically exist to be built out of tractor trailers. Like it couldn't possibly happen.
Yeah.
So it's very much The Shining, where this land this footprint doesn't make sense,
I've always loved the ghoulies pretending to be pretending to be monsters inside of the haunt. It's so good. Such a great movie. It is. Ghoulies 2 better than Ghoulies 1.
Ghoulies 2 is better than all the other threes.
What, you're trying to tell me it's not better than Ghoulies 4, Back to School?
It's the best. It is part 3 is back. Ghoulies Go to
College.
Oh,
is it 3? I forget
part 3.
Which one.
Part 4 is another entirely different. Yeah. No,
Ghoulies
part 2 is
3, Back to School or Back to College. Or
Ghoulies Go to College.
Yeah, there you go. Love me some Ghoulies.
At least they didn't make it to space, right?
I don't think they did.
They ever did.
No,
Unfortunately, they should have.
They let Leprechaun do that shit.
Yes, they should have. They should have gone to space.
They sent their buddy Leprechaun out there.
My boy Leprechaun.
Warwick Davis instead of Fondacaro.
Yes.
How do you say his name? Phil Fondacaro?
I forget.
Yeah, Warwick went to space. Fondacaro stayed here.
My boy the Leprechaun went to space and then went to the hood. Don't forget.
Back to the hood.
Back to the hood.
Went to the hood twice.
So he went to the hood. The hood. He was so prolific in the hood that he had to go back to it.
He had to go back to the hood.
So.
This is it, kid. End of the line. Ade tu dembella. La veu Mercier de Bois Chaillot. La cruz enteam ne poidemus. Mortis me le deve cordi me voce. Adele por de Bois dembella.
So the final pick we'll be discussing here, and my final pick is I'm calling it because it doesn't have a name. I don't think you ever see the name of the haunt, so I'm just calling it the final act haunt in the 1991 film Child's Play 3. This is the Child's Play where Chucky goes to the army and wants to possess a little boy because Andy Barkley is now a teenager and he just doesn't want anything to do with him. There's more to the plot. I'm not going to get into it because I'm not going to be reviewing the movie right now. But I will say that the final act haunt is a sight to be seen. I've always loved the way this, because it's kind of like a dark ride coaster hybrid. It's a combination of both of these things. And it's also, for some reason, one of the most dangerous haunted attractions ever. Everything in there can kill you.
Everything can kill you.
Or it will chop off a limb. You'll fall through it. Like, you do not want to walk through this haunt, and I will be getting at why that is in a second. But to just describe it, there's a ton of atmosphere in this haunt. Fog, cobwebs, lighting effects, a cemetery with headstones. The carts themselves, for some fucking strange reason, look like these evil demonic fish. I don't understand why that is. They look like big evil fish. No clue why. Very odd decision on the production designer there. There's also this really cool, and I could never quite figure it out. There's this zombie guy that comes out of what are those things called? It's like a plot that someone's buried in. I forget what they're called. But it comes out of it, and it looks like not a grave. It's like one of the ones that are above ground. I forget what they're called. A mausoleum?
What, a mausoleum?
Mausoleum, I believe, yes. So this zombie pops up out of it, and it almost looks like an actor pretending to be a zombie, like this animatronic zombie. I could never really quite figure it out because at one point...
It might be just because that's the shot they needed, so it was easier to just have someone wear a costume and do it.
Yeah,
rather than build the animatronic for one shot, you know?
And at one point, the little boy, his name's Tyler, the character, jumps on this zombie, and it pulls him into the mausoleum deal, and it looks like a guy. Even though the dude is trying to mimic like a robotic move, you know?
It's possible they did it just for the sake of the little boy jumping on him. It's easier for an actor to do it than to build something that's going to hold the weight of a 70-pound child jumping on it, you know?
No, and visually that zombie looks great. The visual of it just looks fucking awesome. Everything in this haunt looks fucking awesome.
The scythe that swipes it. Oh my god.
I was about to get into that one.
I love that shot.
So there's also this basically a room that's hell. That's what this is. And it's complete. It's all red with demon faces painted on it. And there's a wall, not even a wall, literally a mountain of skulls in the center of it. And I'd say 20-foot Grim Reaper with a scythe that swings, similar to the kind of the Ed Wood gimmick. It swings towards the cart when it's approaching.
Yep.
Now, this goes back to what I said earlier, that this is probably the most dangerous haunt because that same scythe cuts off half of Chucky's face.
And the face screams as it flies.
It's stuck to the scythe.
It screams.
It's fucking ridiculous. There's also these hanging demons that Tyler jumps onto the back of one at one point, and it lifts him up. But the real kind of hazard that this haunt has is a giant fan for some reason.
Oh, Jesus.
It's
just there.
It is just there. Talk about not practical at all.
It's just a big
giant metal evil-looking
exhaust fan. It's like this huge exhaust fan.
It's supposed to be an exhaust fan, but instead of just having maybe like 4 little ones,
no, it's like 1 8-foot wide.
Yes, with no guard railing on top of it protecting anyone. And literally, Andy Barkley almost tumbles into it. And this fan is what kills Chucky in this film. Obviously, Chucky comes back. And
it's the bottomless pit in Star Wars. It's like...
They're at the top of this skull mountain. And Chucky's doing his whole voodoo ritual, Ade, Due, Dembala, all that stuff, trying to possess the little boy. And Andy's walking up it. And literally, there's a scuffle. And Chucky is tossed into this. And visually, it is fucking terrifying looking. And I'm like, why would this be in a haunted attraction? There is no point in a real metal scythe that can.
The real metal scythe is what. But no, the fan is supposed to be blowing like the flame. You know, like when you put a fan down and you just like what you have behind you, exactly that. It's supposed to be that.
It's supposed to mimic flames.
It's mimicking flames, but it's 8 feet wide. Like.
It will disintegrate anything that goes near it.
The problem with it is...
They said go big or go home. They had some room left over in the budget. They said, fuck it, 8-foot fan.
The problem I see there is the fact that they have this like 20-foot high mountain of skulls.
Yes, it's great.
Which would be like if you as a haunter, that'd be the bane of your existence. You would spend 2 months just making skulls so that you can glue them together. You know, they spent all that. Like, think about this. Like, imagine this is a real place. Okay, you're the haunter building this. You spend 2 months making skulls and stacking them and gluing them and painting them and putting them all together. It's like, and now we want a fan with flames. Just that's where you give up. Like, that's it. Just put a fan and put some flames, and that's it. No nuance, no effort. I'm done. I'm tired of this specific piece. I'm done here. I want to leave the room. So you just get the biggest goddamn fan you can, attach some red fabric, and say, I'm done. And you walk away. That's essentially what
honestly,
happened
I've been there.
Fuck
That's
public
essentially
safety.
It happens all the time in the industry.
Like, I'm done.
I'm not
I
gonna lie,
cannot
bro.
look at this room anymore.
But besides all the dangerous,
We got this giant industrial fan. Make it work.
Yes, just fuck it. Just install the bitch.
Yes,
Keep it moving.
you know?
But yeah, besides
I
all
got
the
the
hazard,
$5 on Craigslist for using it.
That's fucking. It's here.
Yes.
It's here.
but besides all the hazardous shit inside of this fucking haunted attraction, dude, everything about it's fucking awesome visually. Everything. And I love that it's like a dark ride that turns into a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Very immersive for something that's supposed to be at a carnival. You never get a wide shot similar to Satan's Den. You never get a wide shot of what this looks like from the outside.
Because it's 17 sets shot in
Dude,
3 different sound stages.
This would have to be a universal level
Yes,
lot that you would need to build this thing. And it's glorious, dude. And I've always been a sucker for Child's Play 3. I've always I think it's the first one I saw as a kid. I've always loved the third one, and I've always loved this entire finale. And like Chucky's on the top of it's like perfect for Chucky. He's got the boy on the top of the mountain. He's doing his old voodoo shtick, and real lightning, somehow enters the haunt and is striking this skull mountain. It turns into fucking Castle Grayskull. I'm expecting fucking Skeletor to pop out of nowhere, like behind Chucky. It's awesome, dude.
It is.
I love it. I feel
Mordor.
like-
Chucky's Mordor.
Mordor, basically. That's what this is. And like, it's probably the best part of the whole movie is the last like 10 minutes.
Is.
Just all of these scenes. And
That and the paintball.
yes. Oh, that's a great scene.
I
Dude,
love that. Oh,
I don't care what anyone says. Chucky 3 is
Child's
fucking
Play
underrated.
3 is great.
Yeah, Chucky 3. Child's Play 3 is what I meant. Yeah.
Child's Play 3 is great.
It's one of my favorites. I love the original. I love the first 3. I think they're all
first 3
awesome.
I think they're all great. Yeah.
And the newer sequels and the TV show's fucking a lot of fun. Chucky has made a resurgence, and I think he's always had good films. Seed of Chucky's probably the weakest, but he's always had great movies.
Yeah. I didn't like the Tiffany. When Tiffany joined, I wasn't crazy about the Seed of Chucky, Bride of Chucky. I wasn't crazy. They are what they were. But no, the original 3 are great, and I do like the new Cult of Chucky, and I like those. Those are cool.
All right, so to close out the show, let's each pick someone else's pick that we liked. I know that's a lot of picking, I'm saying right there. And Aidan, we'll start with you. Out of each of us, whose pick are you going with? Fictional haunted attraction.
It's a tough choice because you guys had some solid ones, both of you. Honestly, though, you know what? Just kind of going on the whole Dark Knight thing, I have to say it's got to be the Chamber of Farts because that is that same reason is why we do Dark Knight, because it's Dark Knight is always and always will be both a love letter to and a satire of, you know, the haunted houses of old, the stereotypes, what makes them great and what makes them horrible all at once, and why we love them. And that's pretty much what I think they were going for with Chamber of Farts.
I did not think that would get chosen. So there you go. Chambers of Farts has I've made another. You're a fan as well. I've latched you on to the fandom that is the Chamber of Farts.
The fart fandom.
I'm the only person in the world that loves the Chamber of Farts. Probably. I never I never ever hear it referenced anywhere. Manny,
for good reason.
For good reason. There you go. Listen, I could see a lot of people being like, Louis, you're fucking dumb for liking that. I like dumb shit sometimes. Sometimes you need poo-poo humor. Makes me laugh. So I
gotta shoot you over the Spookies logo from last year because you're just gonna love it. It's totally up your alley.
Listen, I love a good fart joke. I can't help it. So
clearly,
Manny, what are you going with?
I mean, probably Child's Play 3. Like, I absolutely love that. I was gonna say like Terrifier 2 just to fuck with you.
Okay.
Just because, because I mean it's really cool. But no, Child's Play 3 it's one of my. It's honestly, when you said you were going to cover Child's Play 3, I completely forgot about that until you said it. Then I suddenly I'm reading the mess Child's Play 3. It's like, oh my god! And I remembered the scythe, and I remembered the skulls and all that, and the pointless roller coaster.
That's just there for no reason. They built it for. They could have made that a walkthrough, but they chose to make it a roller coaster. So. Whatever. Yeah. That is the most Manny pick of the bunch. Like visually, it screams you. So I get it. I'm gonna go with Ghoulies 2, Satan's Den. That's a classic. That was gonna be one of my picks originally, and I ended up just telling Manny he can grab it because I was like, yeah, that's. I think when you think of like fictional haunts as a horror fan, that's one of the first ones that comes to mind for everyone. It's the most iconic aspect of the movie when you think about it. It's like these little creatures pretending to be monsters in a haunt. So it's perfect. It works so well together.
It's really funny. My picks changed completely over the last 3 days just because of that. Because I was going to do Ruin Me, and I was probably going to do Scary Movie. But again, they were just both so long. And then because I thought you were doing Ghoulies 2. And he was like, okay, great, I'll do Ghoulies 2 and Ruin Me. And then I saw Rob Zombie.
You can't get Rob Zombie away from Manny. I will say, Scream. Is it Scream If You Like It? The Wasp song from Ghoulies 2.
Scream until you like it.
Yeah, it's a great
Scream
song.
Until You Like It.
That shit's awesome. We didn't mention it at all. Wanted to mention it here. That's a great track.
Your tunes.
So stupid.
Yeah.
I actually put that song in every single haunt I've ever done, whether it's outside, whether it's inside. I sneak that song into it. That and like all the 80s tie-in songs, Alice Cooper's Man Behind the Mask, Pseudo Echo, His Eyes from. Oh yeah, phenomenal.
Great stuff.
One of BuzzFeed's top 20 haunts nationwide. Dark Knight Halloween World, featuring the retro Haunted Halloween Trail and the 3D Psycho Asylum.
10 out of 10. Very scary. I recommend it.
Get your tickets at darkknightli.com. Dark Knight Halloween World. So much fun, it's scary.
So those are some haunted attractions from TV series and film. Aidan, thank you so much for joining us. Where can people find you and Dark Knight Halloween World?
So people can find me at Dark Knight Halloween World if they don't kill me first. And people can find Dark Knight Halloween World in Farmingville, Long Island, New York, opening October 13th this year, all the way through Halloween. We are at darkknightli.com. Go to our website, buy tickets, follow us on all socials. We have all sorts of cool stuff we're posting constantly. Check it out.
And be sure to subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at Haunted Hangover. Head over to hauntedhangover.com for links to Patreon, the video version of this episode, the audio-only version of this episode, and a ton of other cool stuff.
And be sure to rate and review us on whatever podcatching app you are listening to us on. That tells the algorithm that you like us, even if you don't.
And as always, remember, the best cure for a hangover is...
more booze.
Catch you guys later.